Good morning, family. Thank y'all for tuning in to the WW channel once again. Listen, y'all, I have a message for y'all this morning. Y'all, listen, let's just sit here and talk. Rap with me. I'm sitting in the parking lot. I'm waiting on my meal. I stopped and got me a vegan chicken, a mushroom chicken sandwich this morning. Finna finish that up. But before when we get into that, we're going to tell God thank you. I'm doing this video on my phone. I know lately my phone have been only allowing me to do 10 minutes, saying that my space is this and that. Hopefully the phone don't cut off. If it do cut off, then wherever it cut off at, I'm probably, because I don't know how to edit yet, I'm going to be honest. So I'm probably going to just leave it as that and just upload it. But I was just sitting here. I was thinking about it the day before yesterday. And I talked to my mom about it Friday night. It was Thursday night, I'm sorry. But I didn't really, write stuff down too much. But as I was sitting here waiting on my sandwich, and I'm just sitting here, and I went to thinking about it, and, we always looked at about grace and different things like that. And y'all, I went to thinking about Sarah and Abraham and Adam and Eve. And when you think about grace, there is grace after your consequences. And now we know that consequences is a result of the choices that you make. Grace is a forgiveness on the path to being restored, to restoration. So I was sitting here and I was looking at that thing, and I looked at Abraham and Sarah. And I began to understand something, that Abraham and Sarah wanted a child. Sarah was barren at that moment. She was very impatient. She was barren. So she decided to have a plan. So this was Sarah's plan. God had a plan already that he told Abraham that I am going to bore you a child. I'm going to give you a wife and you a baby. Don't matter how old they are. He just told them. He never said when. He just put the word out there. And now everybody know that right there. So now listen. As he began to do that, Sarah had her own plan. Sarah began to get anxious and she don't know how to wait well. What do that sound like? She was impatient, y'all. Don't that sound like us? Sometimes God been already gave us a sign, or God been already told us that he gonna do something for us. A word already said it, but we don't see it happen year after year, and we begin to get impatient, and we begin to not learn how to wait well, and now we come up with our own plan. So Sarah leaned it on her own understanding instead of what the promises that God have made. So as Sarah got ready to begin to get the weight of barrenness, encouraging Abraham, she encouraged her own husband to go and sleep with her maid Hagar. Now, you can imagine just thinking about that, just looking at that situation like, I am a wife. And if I wanted a baby for my husband and I didn't have no kids, because I'm blessed with 4 girls. God bless me. I got 4 girls and 5 grandkids. So I was one of the women that was blessed to have babies. Thank God. Some women can't have babies and some women have babies late. It all depends. It don't be in God's plan or his timing or whatever. So, but just looking at the situation, just think about it. You a woman, you a wife, you want to give your husband a baby, but it's not happening yet. You done got up in age and you're older, but it's still not happening yet. So now you done begin to lean on your own understanding and you come up with a plan. And think about it. You decided to send your husband off to sleep with your maid or your best friend or whatever. Decision leads to tension and conflict. It becomes a problem. It's showing you that you showcasing the struggles of faith and human impatience. Just think about it. So now Hagar gives birth to Ishmael. So Hagar got the first child. Now Sarah, you know what I'm saying? The promises became to be fulfilled. God ended up got Sarah pregnant. And Sarah had a son named Isaac, the birth of Isaac. But the promises and the heir would have went to the firstborn child, which would have been Hagar's son, Ishmael. But Sarah got jealous because Hagar kept having babies. Like Sarah just got jealous. So Sarah kicked Hagar out, told her to go, you and your baby going about your business. You can imagine, like, child, I'm done with you. And then I done got mad at you. Now I done let you sleep with my husband. I done gave you the go light to do that so you can give him a child because I felt like that I would never have one. Now God done fulfilled his promises and gave me this child, and now I'm done with you. Get out, you and your baby. Like, you know what I'm saying? Just think about that. But as Hagar began to leave, she began to feel some type of way out there in the wilderness. An angel began to talk to her and tell her to go back. So she literally had to go back to the woman that kicked her out. She had to go back to that family. Because first of all, that was part of her consequences, because you don't went and you slept with somebody else's man, which would, even though she gave you the opportunity, but I still felt like that was part of the consequence. But she had a baby. God still, you know what I'm saying, gave her grace in the midst of that. He told her that I will always take care of you and your son. So that was her grace. Now Abraham and Sarah done did all this here. And I just went to look at that. Now they had consequences went on because Sarah started having conflict and issues and feeling some type of way and all of that kind of stuff. And she dealt with so many different things in this situation that it just brought conflict. It just brought so much. So, but her maid had to come back. Well, look at this. There was still consequences that they dealt with, but there was still grace. You understand me? Just look at that. God still gave them grace. Because you know why? Because one thing about God, whatever he said the word gonna do what it's supposed to do. So whatever God say he's gonna do for you, don't matter what happened in the midst of the situation, whatever decision that you decide to make, the word is still gonna go out forth. It's gonna go out because it's gonna do what it's supposed to do. So as you was looking at that, and I was just looking at the choices and stuff that they made, and then I went on down to that and I looked at Adam and Eve. Y'all, this is the main one right here. Adam and Eve. Now you know what happened to Adam and Eve and the snake and all of that stuff. Well, Adam was born first. Eve wasn't even thought about. God explained to Adam and told Adam, you can eat off any tree you want in this garden, but not the one in this middle right here. From knowledge that represents good and evil. Now, God realized that Adam needed a mate, so he took all the animals and all that stuff first and brought them to Adam. And Adam began to name each and every last one of the animals. It said it in the scripture. But that still was not the mate for Adam. So God put Adam to sleep and took part of his rib and made one man, which is Eve. And that's when Adam said, bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh. We will call her woman. Now, he come Eve in play. Now, Eve out there in the garden. He come the snake. Oh, evil enemy. Here he go. Done reared his ugly head on up. Because, you know why? Because I really feel like that Eve was looking at them trees, like glancing at them and seeing how beautiful. She was just looking. I think she was amazed at that tree in that middle. I don't care. I mean, she had to be. She had to just be looking at it for the enemy to come on up there with his old snake self. And told her that she can eat from that tree. Let's break this down. Let's look at the commentary of, here you go, Genesis. Here you go, y'all. So, the divine word. The God formed the man, God and Eden, all of that command. So when the creation started, when God told them not to touch that, Eve wasn't listening, so the snake tricked Eve and said, you would not surely die. You would just be like him. You would be like God with knowing good and evil with knowledge. So, and with wisdom. So she decided that she wanted that kind of wisdom. So she took that fruit, never said what it was. Everybody keeps saying the apple, but there's nowhere in the Bible that it say apple. It said a fruit. She took that fruit off of that tree. And she ate a piece and she gave it to her husband, which was standing right next to her. Now, Eve was not born when he told Adam not to touch that fruit, but that tree. But he explained to his wife, he had to, because she knew that she couldn't touch it because she mentioned it to the evil snake, the devil. So she already knew she's not supposed to. Now, he comes, Eve doing that, he come Adam standing next to her. When she gave Adam that fruit, why didn't Adam say, woman, no? Didn't I tell you that God say, but again, that's because he listened to his wife and he leaned on his own understanding instead of doing what God told him to do from the get-go when that woman came. So he ate the piece of the fruit. And then they began to run and hide in the garden when they heard the voice of God coming through the garden. And that's when God say, how do you know you naked? You ate from that tree? So now he done cursed them. So he done cursed them and kicked them out. But before all of that, that's the consequences that they dealt with. They had to struggle for making a living. God said that you're going to have to struggle. The ground that you till, the ground that you're going to have to come from, you're going to have to struggle. It's going to have thorns and thistles in it. I mean, I'm going to put you through it. You're going to go out there. He said, but still here come the grace. Even though they disobeyed him, but with the consequence, but he still was able to feed them and make sure they are taken care of out there. He probably sent them out there to struggle, but they still, the ground, still the grain for them to eat. So that's what I was looking at, that like God still gave them grace after the consequences. But then they seed, they buried the seed. They had a child, Cain. Then they had a child, Abel. But Cain was jealous of Abel. And Cain killed Abel. But that come down, that's the consequence. Cain killed Abel. And God knew that what Cain did. He was like, your brother blood calls from the ground. What did you do? So he kicked them out. He sent them on out. But he told them nobody can touch him. Even though he told Abel to go on, he put him out. But nobody could touch Abel. Nobody. So that was grace. So you have to look at it. We go through things and we make our own decisions. Sometimes we make choices. Even though we wrong and stuff like that, we become with the consequences. God is always going to be a consequence of all the choices that you make regardless. When you make that bad choice, and you make that choice to be disobedient and lean on your own understanding and not God's own, there will be a consequences, but they will still be grace in the midst of. Just look at the different scenarios. Adam and Eve, Abraham and Sarah, Peter. Still consequent. It's just so many different things. You got to look at it. But I believe that command was when God told them not to eat from the tree of life, good and evil, introducing the concept of moral choices and potential for disobedience. I really believe that is when command and free will came. That is the parable of when God gave a decision. That was a choice that you get to choose. I gave you a command and I also gave you free will. Because the command was for you not to touch it. But there still was a free will. You get to eat from any other tree, but there was a choice. So I believe that's where all of that come from in the midst of that. So as I was just looking at that, y'all, and I was thinking about that, y'all, it was just like, wow, like grace after consequences. So no matter what you do, whatever God's word was, whatever God told you he was going to do, even though you leaned on your understanding, if God told you that you were going to write a book, if God told you were going to start that business, if God told you anything that you was going to have a child, if God said it in his word, whatever he told you you was going to do, whether you went on your own or not, you will have consequences for it, but the word is going to do what it sent out to do regardless. That's the same thing with Abraham and Sarah. God told them they would have a baby. He just never said when. It could have been 30 years from now. They got old. They was old when they had this child. But God's word never comes back void. It's going to do what it said it's going to do. And it did what it said it was going to do. I just came to give y'all that real quick. I was sitting here in the car waiting on my sandwich. My sandwich is ready. So y'all have a blessed and marvelous day. And remember to always pray, always love yourself, and always be real to yourself. And always seek Christ first. And always know and understand there is nothing too hard for your God. I love y'all, and I'll see y'all next time. Be blessed.